Hello, I'm Kersten Geers from OFFICE KGDVS. So we've been working for 20 something years in our office. I think it was always important to have a very clear, coherent approach to architecture. I guess essentially it is about finding spatial qualities, whether it's very small projects or much bigger projects. Ultimately, since for us an almost formal hierarchy in different kind of spaces is the key, I believe that our working method did not fundamentally change, whether we're working on very small projects like a house or a villa, or very big projects like most recently buildings for media facilities. Ultimately, we always look into the idea of bringing hierarchy in spaces, and this hierarchy allows us to organize and to keep a figure strong enough to kind of sustain change. Well, we have always been known for our very abstract geometrical solutions or approaches towards design. However, context has always been equally important. Not so much because we go and visit the context and look at the genius loci and get influenced literally by what we find, but rather in a complex dialogue between the figure, which is literally projected, like thrown on site, and how site and figure come to some sort of dialogue. We believe that anytime you do a project, you change the context. So in that sense, it's exactly in that dialogue that a new reality emerges, which obviously is as much about caring as it's about transforming. In the last 20-something years of office, in parallel, we have been teaching. I have been teaching all the time, never stopped teaching. Well, fundamental here is that in the context of academia, one is able to investigate that what often we do not have the time for in a practice, because practices go fast, decisions, answers come often very quickly. Now, looking at architecture, trying to understand what architecture does, how it performs, has always been central to our teachings. This hasn't changed. I also believe architecture isn't necessarily the most contemporary of professions. Architecture is in a way an old profession, deals with its heritage, its cultural heritage, as much as it stands in the middle of today. So if one discusses current trends or what's next, I believe that one of the major aspects, one of the major things we have to do both in teaching and in architecture, in design, in projects, is to maintain this idea that it's the physical, that what we are specifically good at, which we have to keep on defending in a world which is increasingly virtualized. Now, what are our future projects and what are we looking forward to? Now, architecture practice makes projects often over 2, 3, 5, 10 years time, so things go slow. One of the most beautiful aspects of architecture is that it's a slow practice, it's an ambivalent practice, it's a practice where you cannot claim according to the current fashion. So, on the one hand, I believe we're very excited to understand how a couple of these larger scale projects we've been building or are about to be building currently get their final form. Also because I believe they have particular programs like the media centers we are working on, I believe are very important cultural places today where the value of fact-checked media is key, when culture exactly resides in these kind of almost increasingly rare exemplars of civic behavior. I think that trying to translate this in architecture is one of the most exciting things to do. And it's exactly there where I believe that within what I would call, and it needs more explanation, but the large city, how one could develop ideas, simple ideas even, of publicness, which I would somehow simplify by the idea of the concept of a big house. I mean, that's what we've been working on for the last couple of years in the school, at the academia in the States, but especially now in the last couple of years in 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏, and that's what increasingly influences our work in the office proper.